Well, one aspect for me of phenomenology is to get down as close as possible to the experience. I guess in psychoanalytic circles we would use the word experience near. But in terms of the phenomenological tradition, in a way, it's like a kind of indication that I want to get up as want to get up as little caught up in ideas about it, constructions. Sometimes our ideas are ways of rationalizing our anxiety of the intimate edge. So the phenomenological is like a kind of little indicator, like a signpost, that I'm aware of that danger to get lost in theories, rationalizations, constructions. Reminds me of something that Reich used to say, that when he was reflecting on the 20s and early 30s, when he was saying we analysts were children of our time. And he says that in a context where he's aware that there was a lot of elaborate thinking, deep thinking about very primitive processes in the psyche, but not the capacity to actually emotionally meet those processes, that there was anxiety about that, people were dissociating even whilst they were theorizing. So it's a little indication about that. And then the second aspect for me of phenomenology would be about some idea of the many faculties and senses that we have in terms of perceiving reality, perceiving another person, perceiving relational dynamics, which of course these days it's very fashionable to think about that in terms of implicit relational knowing and so on. But of course, you and I, coming from a body psychotherapy tradition, have a very differentiated language about the many, many levels. Typically what gets lumped together is kind of reflective, mental, theoretical kind of, thinking versus implicit relational knowing. But you and I could sit down quite readily and subdivide that very usefully into different levels, different body-mind channels of communication, and become a lot more precise about what are we talking about in terms of, I'm thinking about perceiving the enactment. How do we make sense of the enactment if we have perceived it somehow? And then what do we do within it, and typically to recover from it? So I would think about those three steps: perceiving, understanding, and then how to relate and engage with it, partly to recover from it. That's what I mean by phenomenology.